Hi everyone and welcome back to Knot Weave Stitch. My name is Gisela and in today's episode we're going to look at the 5 top summer fibre craft ideas for adults. Today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter than normal just because I've had a busy few weeks and I'm off on holiday, but hopefully it should still be a nice, quick, easy listen as well. So for the first idea, you could look at using macramé, and you can use macramé for lots of different outdoor items, and you can create really beautiful and functional items such as coasters or lovely table runners. But something that might be really interesting is to make plant hangers. And to make plant hangers, you can use cotton rope or jute, and they're really ideal for hanging pots outdoors on patios, pergolas, or even trees. So this is really good for beginners in macrame because you only need a few foundation knots in order to make some of these items. So with a plant pot holder, you could simply just use things like a lark's head knot, gathering knot and square knots. There's not much more to it. You can make it more complicated if you want to, but you can keep it nice and simple. For the macrame coasters, again, a lark's head knot and a double half hitch knot, and you can make a coaster out of that. So you don't need to know many macrame knots to make some lovely summer items. The only thing to be aware of is that you might want to use weather resistant cord if they're going to be outside long term, because if you get normal cord wet, it's going to start getting a bit soggy and mouldy. So if you do want things to be outside for a while to be a bit more weather resistant, think about the materials that you're using. But these can be really, really lovely to get that boho summer look. The second idea that you could take a look at is to take your weaving practice outside. So you can DIY your own loom, and you can use this with sticks that you might find. If you've got any of those like little bamboo or sugarcane sticks, you could use them. And once you've got that loom literally just put together with a bit of string or twine, then you can again use a bit of string as your warp thread, your warp string, and then you can weave your natural materials through that. So you could look at getting grasses, feathers, or flowers with lovely long stems and weave that through your string and twine, and it can make a really nice little outdoor activity, particularly as a mindful practice. That can be a really nice thing to go foraging in the garden or going out on a walk and finding things to pop in your DIY loom. So the third idea is fantastic also for the family, which is tie-dye, and you can even do upcycled tie-dye. So if you have any old linens, aprons, tote bags, maybe an old t-shirt or hoodie, you can use the tie-dye method. You could even try a shibori technique, which is really interesting to look at as well. But these are really fun to do outdoors, less mess, perfect if it's particularly nice weather outside. And you can make some really gorgeous different patterns. So with tie-dye, it's all in the positioning of the elastic bands or the twine string, whatever you are using, and you can make lots of different patterns. So you could do stripes, waves, you could even do like a bullseye effect on there. And it's really all in the positioning of the string, twine, or the elastic bands. And you can have a play around with the colours as well. And this is particularly good if you have young children and you're teaching them the colour wheel. This can be really, really good for that. So you can have a real mess about with tie-dye. In terms of the dye, you can obviously get fabric dye, but if you want to use much more natural elements, you can do that as well. So you can use things like onion skins, flowers, any other kind of more natural dyes like maybe turmeric. So that can be quite nice to experiment with that and see what it creates and the patterns and the colours that form on your different items. The next idea is embroidery, And you can embroider lots of different items. So you could maybe make some lovely bunting for the garden, cushion covers, tablecloths, napkins, and you can add a botanical design or maybe a summer motif onto it, whatever kind of idea you would like. Or if you've got a theme for your garden, you can embroider some really gorgeous designs just to spruce up any of these items that you may have. You can even use weatherproof thread if you're displaying it outside, or you can keep them as maybe seasonal home decor. And lastly, you could even try some rope basket weaving, and you can use natural fibres for that. So with rope basket weaving, you can weave your own cord baskets or bowls using things like raffia or cotton rope. And these are really great and practical for summer because you can pop pretty much anything in there that you'd like. So if there's maybe some summer produce that you have from your garden, maybe some fruits and vegetables that you want to move to your kitchen, maybe some garden tools, or if you've got maybe some clothes pegs, you can store them in there. Or you can even use it with indoor decor as well, with maybe a little rustic twist. So that can be quite a fun, maybe slightly different craft to try as well. And you can make different colours on them and try out different patterns as well with the different types of fibres that you're using. So we're coming to the end of this week's episode. In next week's episode, we're going to look at where to buy your fibre craft supplies from. If you can, please subscribe to my podcast. I'd be so grateful. Additionally, I have a Patreon with different tiered memberships, so please do consider joining the Not Weave Stitch community, as it really helps keep the podcast alive. As ever, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.